Welcome back to Profi Plays. I'm Profi, and we are continuing our scout mission here in Cepheus Universal with Wilbur Orla and company. Although, really, calling it Wilbur Orla and company is a little bit dishonest because he's not very useful. It's not. I mean, look, he just doesn't have good abilities for being part of a scouting crew. Doesn't. Okay, all that said. Let's get into it. All right, so where we are right now, we are in the subsector of Mucoria. So if you may remember or you may not remember, it really doesn't matter if you do. Uh, we are in the Mucoria sector. We have uh, hopped here to 0303 being the system that we are in. And there we have done a little bit of surveying. At this point, we have 8 survey points from this particular um, this particular system, because last time we did encounter an anomaly, that is a manned alien or probe or drone. We met the Evad and we helped them out some, as they were caught in some kind of gravitational anomaly or something like that, if I recall correctly. In any case, yes, that's right. And we struck an informal deal, right, to stay out of each other's way, was the idea. Now, naturally, this was not a formal deal, and they do have a fairly formal society, so it very well might be that this deal didn't stand for much. But well, we'll see what happens if we run into any aliens in the future. As for now, we are still here in this system. We are exploring the inner system right now. The inner system, which boundary right here. We found this desert planet which has a breathable atmosphere. So that is where we are right now. It's fairly small, no water. It's a desert planet. So yeah, that makes sense. All right. So we are going to be doing some more surveying here. So there were two more things that we found as potential targets here on this desert planet. So one thing is that there is some fauna in the form of microfauna, right? So we're thinking like something very small. That's what micro means. And then, or there's this anomaly on the surface. There's a bunker. I think the bunker might be interesting for us to try to survey, right? So as we do a survey, let's go ahead and walk through the process, make sure we get it down right. Okay, and I just realized that I did not pull out everything that I need system-wise, because there are a few gameplay sheets that are useful for this. Now, there we are. Great, cool. Now I think I have everything I need. So the next thing I would like to do, so as we do the survey, right, so we've already got our targets, decide which to investigate in what order, calculate travel time to the first planet. Okay, we're already at the planet. Roll for a non-path, well, we're already at the planet. At the landing site, roll for the survey duration, and then roll the survey problem. So to get to the landing site, all right. So one thing we need to do, we need to start the survey, we roll a d6 on a 1 through 4. We have to travel that many kilometers to the site in an ATV, on snowmobiles, or in a grav car. Or I mean, we could just walk there. I mean, let's face it, 4 kilometers is not that far. You can walk that in less than an hour, most likely. I mean, across sand might be an issue a bit. Now, this is going to be a hot planet. After all, while we do have a reasonable atmosphere, nonetheless, it is a desert planet. It's fairly close to the sun, so it's probably hot. It just is, right? So we don't necessarily have the best survival gear as far as that goes. So let's hope for a 5 or 6 where we can land within 500 meters of the thing. We got a 1. Okay, well, that's not so bad, right? So 5 or 6 would be ideal. 1 kilometer, that's not that bad. That's like a half a mile. I think we'll be okay. Right, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. How long is it going to take to do this survey? We got a 4. 4 indicates 3 days. So 3 days is what's expected for this survey. Now we need to roll for survey problem. Now, just so you know, I've already decided we are sending everybody there. Survey problem was 1, 2. This indicates that radios or sensor malfunction or a complex sensor sweep is required. Right, so, and this makes some degree of sense. We're traveling across where there's sand and that kind of stuff. There also might be some kind of um, interference or something from this bunker that we are investigating. Did I say we're doing the bunker? We're doing the bunker. Just to be clear. And it says we need a comms role. So did I bring somebody with me that is good at comms? I believe so. Okay, for a second I thought it was going to be Hazel. It's not Hazel. Hazel's not good at comms. Ah, Sonia. Sonia is the one that I think is best at comms. Yes, she has a 1. Jay, that beats literally everybody else. Okay, so we're going to use her 1. That's a 6. That makes it a 7. A 7 is a fail. Of course, of course. All right. So what happens when we fail this roll? Yeah, let's remind ourselves. Skill roll failure indicates servo is impeded or held up. Look at the planned time. Use 1 increment down. Okay, so instead of 3 days, it took us 4 days. That's not so bad. Right. Okay, so we spent 4 days doing this, and then I want to find out how many survey points we got, and then I want to back up and try to make a story of this. Okay, right. So survey with single target. So we take a -2 to this. 6 minus 2 is still 4. That's awesome. Okay. We got real lucky on that one. All right, so we did this. It's an SP4. They say going for about 10 survey points is pretty good. Oh, and I think I get something else because of survey of anomaly adds a +2. So the +2 and the -2 would cancel. So it's actually 6 points. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, this is fantastic. So total, we've got 14 points from this. So here's what I'm thinking happened. Okay. So we went to the bunker, right? And we were getting all kinds of interference, and that was really creating issues. And we spent a good deal of time, it took us about a day to try to work out those issues there so we could get reasonable scans of the inside of the bunker. But when we went inside the bunker, it became obvious why, right, we were getting these interference issues. And that was like this, uh, like this bunker clearly still has working technology in it. Um, yeah, I want to get some inspiration on this one. So I'm curious what the technology does is really the thing that I'm wondering about at this point. So let me go ahead and see if I find my inspiration table. There it is. Here's the action theme. 35, protect. 12, labor. So protect labor. I mean, okay. Okay, so I think that here we're trying to figure out like what this technology was doing. And I think this technology is really it's a sort of shield. But I think it's been sufficiently weakened, right? Because it's very old. We thought this area was totally uninhabited, and in fact, the Avad who we encountered, it's like this is not consistent with the technology we would expect from them. I'm just going to put it that way. Like the sizing is all wrong. We know the Avad are larger, right? And I think this is much more human size as far as that goes. And I think that we figured out that there's some kind of like electrostatic shielding or something like that, right? That is, yeah, like I think like a Van de Graaff generator, something along those lines, right? Really trying to protect, right, the work that was being done here. Now, I think that this is old enough and that the equipment has degraded enough that we're not really sure, and it's alien to us as well. We're not really sure what the purpose of the stuff here was. Right. So, what kind of state is it in? I'm curious. I'm just gonna roll like for ship. I think that'd be an interesting way to do this. Okay, so 16 is what I've got here. 16 cutting. Okay, so I think we can identify like saws or something like that. Um, Now, what exactly before? I don't know. Right. After all, we are here in the middle of a desert. As far as we can tell, this. this was always a desert. At least it would have been a desert when this was built. So it's not like, oh, there's a forest here, but now it's all a desert. Um, so we're not really sure what they were doing as far as that went. But nonetheless, we can tell this was used for cutting something. Um, maybe the maybe there's some kind of metal or something that they were working with here. We don't really know why they chose this environment either. Maybe they needed this dry environment to work with whatever they're working with. And they wanted it to be somewhat protected at the same time because of the now failing electrostatic field that it created communication problems for us. Uh, so it's definitely noteworthy. So we do make notes of it, put it into our survey log, and I think we've decided that that's enough for this particular system, and we're going to be moving on to another system, right? So I think that that is the decision that we have made at this point, which is fantastic, because it means we get to head out somewhere else. Now, the survey, what do we need to do? We need to roll for a reaction roll. 10. Uh, Under an 8 means there's some kind of negative reaction. There's not. Everybody's actually pretty happy with this, right? So I think that there is the attitude, well, sure, right? Maybe Sonia didn't solve their communication problems immediately, so it took an extra day for us to do the survey. But nonetheless, right, we got good information here. We feel very good about it. We also know that we're going to be paid well for this as well. Based on a contract we have, we're going to be making like, what was that, like 6,000 credits or something like that? Yeah, 1,000 credit reward for each survey point. That's 6,000 credits. I think that is worth it. Okay, so I think that is what we've decided. So we're good here. I think now it is time for us to uh, jump to a new system. So we need to figure out where we want to go in looking at Mucoria. Again. Okay, now our ship is capable of two, a jump of two, right? Okay, so let me just move that out of the way here. I would like to go somewhere that has a planet that we can actually like all get out on. Okay, so breathable atmospheres uh, are ideal. Uh, we do have like we don't have vac suits, I've decided, but I think we do all have survival masks available. We kind of dumb if we didn't. Although, we also went on a survey. uh, okay, survival mask. Okay, William does not have a survival mask. Does Heidi have a survival mask? Yes. So only one person does not have a survival mask. So even if we can leave one person on the ship and then the rest go. So we're okay with that. All right, cool, cool, cool. So where could we go? Well, let me pull out my list of planets and see what kind of. If I can pull out my list of planets, where did I put it? It's under here. Yeah, there's my list of planets. Excellent. So I'm going to pull this out. So just a reminder of the types of atmospheres that are and are not breathable for us. Just pull out my Cepheus Universal binder here. 280. Because we want a breathable atmosphere, at least for the survival mask. So we need something between it's 2 and 9. So it's a pretty wide range. So as long as atmosphere is between 2 and 9, we should be okay. Some are better than others, naturally, but between 2 and 9 is doable. All right. Now, I like the idea of this continuing out away from our home base for now. Now, 0402, we do have a gas giant there. Oh, and this one we can refuel. We can get the water here. That's a big plus. 42, there's a gas giant there. So does this have a breathable atmosphere on the main world? No, it does not. the atmosphere here is a C, which is real nasty. We don't want that. All right, so how about instead, how we jump to 401 or 502? 401, it's a 5. Oh, hey, that's beautiful. So 359. So it's pretty wet. So relatively small, pretty wet world, 401. So that's where we're going to jump to. So we can do this jump of 2 here. That's where we're headed. Okay, so that is the jump that we are going to make. And decide whether to stay. Total survey points earned from star system, and then return to arrival. So we just enter the new star system. That's it. And then we're going to have to do a survey of this. But I think that that's a pretty good place, right, for us to stop now. Part of me is like, oh, shouldn't we roll for an event or something? But I don't think it actually makes sense to roll for an event here. I mean, because we're not going to have space encounters most likely. Um, and I think the events are kind of built in to the surveys that you do. So I think we're skipping that part. I think that's the intent. Right, so we are in jump space though for a week, and we pop back out in the new system. When we get to that new system, we are going to be doing a survey of it. But for now, I think this is a good place to call it. It was a fairly short session, but that's okay. Um, yeah, we're gonna call it there. Uh, until next time, this is Prof. E signing off.